Here's what's on your feed today. Tropical Depression Esther is bringing rains and strong winds to Batanes and enhancing the habagat. Inflation slows to 6.8% in May, giving consumers some relief even as prices remain high. The Sandigan Bayan allows hospital arrest for former Public Works Chief Manuel Bonoan pending his plunder case. Authorities are verifying reports that Senator Bato de la Rosa may have traveled by yacht to an undisclosed location. And a tourist sparks outrage after allegedly sitting on a protected deer at Japan's famous Nara Park. Good afternoon, I'm Denise Tan. Tropical Depression Esther is now bringing rains and strong winds over Batanes while also enhancing the southwest monsoon. To walk us through Esther's track and the possible effects of the habagat, we are joined by Pag-asa weather forecaster John Manalo over the phone. Sir John, welcome to One News Feed. Saan po huling namataan itong sentro ni Esther?
Itong si Esther po, by the way, good afternoon din po Miss Denise sa ating mga taga-subaybay. Ito pong si Bagyong Esther ay huli nating namataan 250 kilometers north ng Itbayat, Batanes.
Sir, gaano naman po kalakas yung dalang ulan at hangin po nitong si Esther?
Ito pong si Esther, given po na nasa Batanes siyang area, actually naglandfall po ito dito sa southwestern coast ng bansang Taiwan at hindi po sa Pilipinas. At sa kasalukuyan ay binabaybay yung northeastward na direction, papalabas ng PAR, papalayo sa ating bansa. And ibig po sabihin nito, posibleng mamayang madaling araw o bukas ng umaga ay nasa labas na ito ng PAR. In terms of lakas po ng hangin at mga pagulan, naka-signal number 1 po yung Batanes, hindi naman po ito ganun kalakas at yung mga ulan na associated dito ay mas marami po offshore o sa karagatan as compared dun sa kalupaan.
Sir John, given na papalayo na po itong Esther sa Philippine Area of Responsibility, ano naman pong klaseng weather ang aabangan natin this weekend and in the coming days?
This weekend po, actually ngayong araw ay may epekto po yung southwest monsoon dito sa malaking bahagi ng Luzon. Yung buong northern Luzon, yan po yung Ilocos Norte, Cagayan Valley Region at Cordillera Administrative Region. Kasama din yung Central Luzon. Ganon din dito sa Metro Manila, Cavite, Batangas, Occidental Mindoro. Ibig ko sabihin yung mga binanggit natin na lugar ay makakaranas ng maulap na kalangitan at may kataasan yung tsansan ng mga pag-ulan. At magpapatuloy po yan hanggang bukas. Pero by Sunday ay mas mababawasan na po yung chance ng pagulan. And eventually by Monday ay mas magiging clear po yung ating sky condition. Pero posible pa rin yung mga localized thunderstorms.
At yung mga kapatid natin, Sir John, usually alam natin kapag June, inaasahan nila na talagang labas-pasok na yung ulan, yung bagyo. Meron ba tayong binabantayan na papasok ng bansa?
Sa kasalukuyan po, may nakikita lang po tayo ng mga cloud cluster, far eastern part ng Mindanao. Pero yung mga kaulapan na yun ay, although may posibilidad siya na mag-LPA, pero mababa pa lang po sa kasalukuyan. At bukod po dito, ay wala naman na po tayong minomonitor.
Mm-hmm. Sir, meron din po bang epekto yung habagat?
Opo, bali yung epekto po ng habagat, sa kasalukuyan po, tulad po ng binanggit natin, ay nagdadala siya ng maulap na kalangitan. At ibig sabihin, nandun yung chance ng pagulan, pero pansamantala po itong hihina next week.
Okay, at ano naman po, Sir John, yung paalala siguro po sa publiko, pati na rin po sa mga LGUs, ngayon po na parang kumbaga officially nag-start na po ang rainy season.
Paalala po sa ating mga kababayan, kahit na nag-onset na po tayo ng rainy season, hindi po ibig sabihin ito ay talagang tuloy-tuloy na makakaranas tayo ng mga pagulan, lalo na sa kanlurang bahagi ng ating bansa. Meron po tayong tinatawag na monsoon break, ibig sabihin, kahit na rainy season ay posible pa rin na at least 3 days na magkakasunod ay hindi tayo makaranas ng mga pagulan. At mahalaga din po ito dahil sa ating preparation, ibig po sabihin natin dito, dahil dun sa papalapit din na onset o yung pagpapalapit na pagdeklara natin ng El Nino ay paghandaan po natin pareho sa mga susunod na linggo or buwan ay posible po na may kalakasan ng mga pagulan, pero bago matapos yung taon na to ay posible naman na mas maranasan natin epekto ng El Nino, which is mas kabawasan po sa mga pagulan at ganoon din sa mas mataas na mga temperatura.
And thank you for your update and thank you for your time. Again, that was Pag-asa weather forecaster John Manalo. Now, after a week dominated by political turmoil, a bit of good news this Friday. Inflation, or the rate of increase in consumer prices, slowed down in May. The Philippine Statistics Authority reported that inflation eased to 6.8% last month. That is lower than the 7.2% recorded in April and also below the Bangko Central's estimate of 7.1 to 7.9%. In simple terms, prices are still high, but they are rising at a slower pace. The PSA said inflation slowed mainly because of softer price increases in diesel, gasoline, LPG, kerosene, house rent, and some food items. Some economists, however, warn that inflation could pick up again this coming months, depending on rice prices, fuel costs, electricity rates, and external risks such as tensions in the Middle East. Meantime, the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines, or NGCP, has placed the Visayas grid under yellow alert status. The period is from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. The NGCP said the alert period was extended after projected demand increased by 64 megawatts. More than 900 megawatts of capacity remain unavailable due to plant outages and operational limitations. Under a yellow alert, the power supply remains sufficient to meet demand, but operating reserves fall below the required level. And the DOTR is looking to expand bike lanes and active transport nationwide. But advocates say the priority should be making these routes safer, not just longer. Mobile Journal Ivan Tarinque has the report.
The Department of Transportation, or DOTR, is seeking more than 1 billion pesos to develop active transport hubs and infrastructure across the country. The agency says the funding will help make roads safer and more inclusive for cyclists and pedestrians during their daily commutes. By 2028, DOTR is targeting the construction of more than 2,400 kilometers of bike lanes nationwide. The department is also building end-of-trip facilities and upgrading PUV stops with Wi-Fi and charging stations to improve the commuting experience.
Tayo rin ay nagsikap na makakuha ng legislative support para magkaroon ng maayos at sapat na pondo ang ating mga road safety-related policies and programs.
While the government plans to expand active transport infrastructure, Advocate says the focus should not be on quantity alone. They point out that many existing bike lanes still rely on painted markings and plastic bollards, which offer limited protection and are easily damaged. For them, the priority should be building protected and connected bike lane networks that can be safely used by people of all ages and skill levels.
May tinatawag na 8 to 80 yung when it comes to active transport. Dapat it should be safe for children as young as 8 years old and to the elderly as old as 80. Dapat yun yung pagbasihan kung safe ba and inclusive yung active transport networks natin.
Ladyong also stressed the need for government agencies to use road crash data to identify high-risk areas and guide infrastructure improvements. He said safety measures should be targeted at locations where crashes frequently occur to help prevent future accidents and encourage more people to choose active transport.
So pag ginawa nating mas maayos yung active transport networks natin, yung mga taong nahihirapan sa public transport, lalo na yung mga taong nahihirapan sa public transport, mas madali sa kanilang isipin na pwede pala sila magbisikleta or pwede nilang subukan magbisikleta.
Advocates say improving active transport infrastructure could provide millions of Filipinos without private vehicles a safer, a more affordable, and more accessible way to travel. Kapatid Mobile Journal Ivan Tarinque, we are One News.
More stories when One Newsfeed returns. Stay tuned. You're still watching One Newsfeed. Welcome back. The Sandigan Bayan 5th Division has granted former Public Works Secretary Manuel Bonoan's motion for hospital arrest. And for the details, we have mobile journalist Arles De Los Santos. Arles, what were the grounds, or the court's grounds rather, for granting Secretary or former Secretary's motion for the hospital arrest?
Yes, Dennis, no, tama ka nga na pinagbigyan ng Sandigan Bayan 5th Division yung hiling ni dating Public Works Secretary Manuel Bonoan na manatili sa ilalim ng isang hospital arrest, no, pero partially lamang yan. Initially kasi ay hinihiling ni Bonoan na manatili siya sa isang private hospital, pero iniutos ng korte na sa PNP General Hospital siya sa Kamkrame mananatili, dahilan kung bakit nga ba ito naging partially lamang, no. Kaugnayan ng kanyang kasong pandarambong para sa umano'y kickback na 573 million para sa mga infrastructure projects ng DPWH. Actually, isa sa mga dahilan dito, Dennis, ng pagpayag ay yung edad nga ni Bonoan na 80 years old na umano, at napatunayan din umano, no, ng kampo ni Bonoan na kung makukulong ang dating kalihim at magpapatuloy ang kanyang mga nararanasang sakit, baka ito maging panganib sa kanyang buhay, no. Syempre ang kinatatakot din nila ay yung baka nung mangyari dito sa ating dating kalihim na kasama nga sa mga nasasakdal sa flood control scandal.
Arles, may advice ba kung gaano katagal siya pwedeng manatili sa ospital under the court's order?
Actually, Denise, hindi pa natin nakukumpirma kung hanggang kailan pwedeng manatili sa hospital arrest si Bonoan. Pero at least ayon sa korte, kung kakailanganin itong maging mas mahaba, ay kailangan magkakaroon ng biweekly report ang sinumang government-affiliated physician para nga ipasa ito sa korte. No? At malinaw naman yung utos ng korte na kapag bumuti ang kalagayan ni Bonoan at na-advise na ma-discharge ng doktor niya, maaari na ito agad dalhin doon sa New Quezon City Jail sa Payatas. At kung kakailanganin nga din no, yung biweekly report na ito mahalaga para nga ma-decide kung kailangan niyang mag-extend ng kanyang pananatili sa hospital arrest, no. Pero marami-rami kasi, Denise, yung nakita natin na sakit ni Bonoan doon sa inilabas na resolusyon ng Sandigan Bayan, no. Parang humigit kumulang 10 yon. But so far, kasama doon yung prostate cancer, diabetes, hypertension, kidney disease, at yung actually stage 4, no, yung CKD niya, at yung heart enlargement. At ayon sa PNP mismo ay mga bagong sakit itong nadiskubre kay Bonoan.
And ano ba yung setup niya doon sa Hospital Arles? Will he be allowed to see visitors? And what kind of limitations are set in place in terms of his movement naman?
Well, in terms of his movement, Denise, no, hindi magkakaroon pa rin yan ng bantay, no, at hindi siya pwedeng basta-basta makalabas ng ospital. At alam natin talagang bawal dahil technically yung selda niya magiging isa lamang sa mga kwarto ng ospital, at yung visiting hours kailangan pa din dumaan sa tamang proseso yung mga dadalaw sa kanya, at kabukod dyan yung magagastos na pera para doon sa kanyang pananatili sa ospital ay kanyang kakarguhin.
And is there any concern about equal treatment? May ganyan bang usapan, Arles?
Well, sa ngayon wala tayong naririnig, Denise, no. Ay siguro yung publiko ay mayroon dahil hindi ito yung first time na mayroong dating kalihim o bahagi ng gabinete o opisyal ng ating pamahalaan na nasangkot nga, no, sa mga kaso kagaya ng plunder at graft. Kaya yung iba, ang concern baka daw maging special treatment lamang ito, or syempre yung inequality dahil yung iba kapag nakakasuhan diretso sa kulungan. Pero kagaya niyan, yung mga opisyal ng pamahalaan pwede kasi pa rin, no, legal na kaparapatan ng sino man yan na hilingin yung hospital arrest. And so far sa kampo ni Bonoan, napatunayan naman nila ito.
May iba lang ako ng konti, Arles. Kailan naman yung next scheduled hearing o kaya yung court proceeding for former Secretary Bonoan, pero pati na rin dito kay Senator Jinggoy Estrada?
So far, Denise, yung meron tayo dito, yung pre-trial for Estrada and Bonoan's graft case is set on July 1, no? And then yung arraignment naman for plunder ay sa June 30. Hihintayin pa kasi ng tugon, yung tugon ng prosekusyon at sa mga mosyon ni Bonoan na ngayon ay nakabinbin pa, no? At kabukod dyan, pinagpapaliwanag din kasi itong si Senator Jinggoy Estrada kung bakit nga ba siya hindi dapat masuspinde. Kasi inuutos ng RA 3019, Denise, no, na pwedeng masuspende ang mga lokal na opisyal ng pamahalaan, no, habang dinidinig ang kanilang mga kasong kriminal. Pero ihabol lang natin, Denise, patungkol doon sa hospital arrest ni Secretary Bonoan, hindi naman, no, sinang-ayunan yan initially talaga ng prosekusyon, at actually sa kanilang komento ay sinabi nito, no, na hiling nila mabasura nga itong request for hospital arrest, no. Nila hindi umano sapat yung naging dahilan ni Bonoan para masailalim sa hospital arrest, at kaduda-duda raw yung mga sakit nito, no? At kabukod dyan, kung igigit daw ni Bonoan na life-threatening yung kanyang mga sakit na nararanasan, paano raw na ito ay nakalipad papuntang Amerika ng 14 to 16 hours at nakadalo pa noon sa pagpapatawag sa kanya ng Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearing sa kaugnay ng flood control scandal at kabukod dyan mula 2022 hanggang 2025 ay nagampanan nito ang kanyang trabaho bilang kalihim ng Department of Public Works and Highways at hindi nito napigilan ng kanyang mga sakit. Kaya ang kanilang posisyon sana dyan ay huwag sana itong payagan. Denise.
Arles, sisingit ko na lang din, kamusta naman yung update dun sa kondisyon ni Senator Estrada? Because I believe he's also saying na baka kailanganin na i-hospital arrest din siya, tama ba?
Yes, Denise, kasama yan sa mga kinukonsidera at pinag-iisipan ng kampo ni Estrada dahil nga sa kanyang nararanasan na osteoarthritis sa magkabilang tuhod. Meron daw, Denise, ayon sa kanyang abogado na si Attorney Noel Estrella na parang may effusion daw doon sa magkabilang tuhod and hindi kaya ni Estrada na tumayo o maupo ng matagal, kaya nga seriously nila itong kinoconsider, no? And kabukod dyan, Denise, kahapon nakita rin natin na habang nagpapatuloy yung supposed arraignment kay Estrada for his graft case ay nag-request ito, no, sa mga hukom na kung maaari na siyang ma-excuse dahil sumasakit daw yung kanyang tuhod, no? Pero pinastay siya ng hukom na si Judge Geraldine Ekong ng 2nd Division ng Sandigan Bayan and natapos niya naman yung pagdinig laban sa kanya. At actually, naabot pa nga yung kanyang arraignment at pagpasok ng not guilty plea para sa kanya.
All right, thank you for that update. Again, that was mobile journalist Arles de los Santos. Now, Senator Erwin Tulfo assures that all parties linked to the flood control controversy will be invited to the Blue Ribbon Committee hearing on Monday. Among those invited are the 18 alleged former Marines who identified themselves as bagmen for former Congressman Azaldico. Tulfo said all senators have also been invited. The Blue Ribbon Panel chair added he is prepared to address allegations linking him to the alleged kickback scheme, which he has previously denied.
Ang Blue Ribbon po ang pinakamaraming may komite, 17 po. From the total po noon, majority, minority.
Opo.
Ngayon po, para wala namang sabi, 22 na lang na ho kami, so may natitirang 5. Sinama ko na rin po. Sumama na kayo ditong 5 dyan sa minority para makapagtanong kayo, makapag-imbestigat.
The National Bureau of Investigation says it is checking reports that Senator Bato de la Rosa may have traveled by yacht to an undisclosed location. NBI Director Melvin Matibag said authorities are verifying the information and are not ruling out the possibility that it was meant to mislead investigators. The senator is wanted by the International Criminal Court over alleged crimes against humanity related to the drug war. De la Rosa has not been seen in public since the shooting incident inside the Senate complex on May 14. The U.S. Embassy has declined to confirm reports that visas of former House Speaker Romualdez have been revoked. In a statement, the embassy cited visa record confidentiality rules and said the U.S. State Department does not comment on individual visa cases. The response comes amid reports that Romualdez's A1 diplomatic visa and B1, B2 non-immigrant visa were canceled several weeks ago. Earlier, But Philippine Ambassador to the United States, Babe Romualdez, has confirmed that the U.S. has canceled the diplomatic and tourist visa of Romualdez. Earlier, the Sandigan Bayan dismissed Romualdez's motion to lift the precautionary hold departure order against him. The lawmaker is under investigation in connection with the flood control scandal. And 4 former Senate presidents are calling on senators to end the upper chamber's internal row. In a joint statement, Coco Pimentel, Mig Zubiri, Tito Soto, and Frank Drelon said they are speaking out of moral duty to the institution they once led. The former Senate chief said the highest duty of a Senate president is not to cling to office, but to leave the Senate stronger, more respected, and firmly bound to the rule of law. They urged incumbent senators to tone down public rhetoric, settle disagreements, and prioritize urgent issues such as economy, food and energy security, and justice. The statement does not list recent former Senate Presidents Cheese Escudero and Manny Villar among its signatories. More stories coming your way when One Newsfeed returns. You're still watching One Newsfeed. Again, I'm Denise Tan. Welcome back. Game 2 of the PBA Commissioner's Cup Finals is set to unfold later this evening. The defending champion TNT Tropang 5G is looking to even the series after falling short in Game 1. TNT dropped Game 1 102-100 after Justin Brownlee hit the game-winning jumper with less than a second left. Despite the loss, the Tropang 5G received strong performances from import Chris McCullough, who finished with 25 points, as well as RR Pugoy and Reynam Batak. The Gin Kings, meanwhile, will continue to bank on its superstar trio of Justin Brownlee, RJ Abarrientos, and Scotty Thompson. Tip-off is set for 7:30 p.m. at the Smart Araneta Coliseum. And before we go, a tourist's alleged mistreatment of a deer at Japan's famous Nara Park has sparked outrage online. A viral video shows a woman allegedly sitting on a deer inside a park, which is known for its free roaming and protected animals. The footage appears to show the woman straddling the deer more than once before the animal eventually moved away. A park volunteer said the deer had previously suffered an injury and described the incident as both disrespectful and distressing. The deer of Nara Park are protected under Japan's Cultural Properties Protection Law and are recognized as a national natural monument. Local authorities said they will continue public awareness campaigns and patrol to help protect the animals. And that wraps up One Newsfeed, the only feed you need. I'm Denise Tan. Good evening.